So start with HCL nodes. First of all, let's just briefly talk about what's out there right now. We do have HCL nodes 11.0.1 FP2 out there, and this is our focus today. We do have the standard client installation, we do have basic, and we do have admin and designer clients. We will be focused on standard because this is what I see out there more than 95% in all cases, right? For all users. Okay. Just to mention it, we do also have the HCL client application access 303, which is a very limited client where you can use, it's the basic client just for applications without mail capabilities. And the version 303 equals to 11.0.1 FP2, right? And we talk about single and multi-user installations. We will focus on multi-user because, again, this is the thing what we should focus on for users, although we know there are a couple of customers still in the world which are using single user installations. So an upgrade is the best opportunity to get rid of single and migrate over to multi-user, because there's lots of advantages with multi-user, right? Let's quickly talk about the directories, means the folders. I'm pretty sure I also did that in my last session. The program folder changed from IBM to HCL. So the new folder on a Windows 64-bit version is program files x86 HCL nodes, and on a 32-bit it would be program files HCL nodes. The shared data directory is now in the HCL folder and also the data directory. So if you want to create new installations and you want to create upgrades, you should consider that to change that to HCL, because this is suggested by the vendor and also by myself and by PanAgenda. So it's always good to work with the suggested version, let's say this way, or type. And this is, yeah. And you can do that very easily, right? That's the thing. It's not, it not means that you have like huge work or huge portion of work in front of you. It's more or less like you can just do it. You just have to put it into consideration, right? Okay. The next thing is, this is our second topic, and the topic is a bit bigger, is upgrade or upgrades to 11.0.1 FP2. Let's start a bit with, how can I say, with what I see out there, or what we see out there in nodes deployments, means at customers. I see kind of, and this is only due to nodes clients, not to Domino servers. I see kind of the lack of visibility and control there, because it's not easy to control nodes clients. Yes, we do have Domino policies, but we all know Domino policies are very limited, and these policies are not helping all the time. And pretty much important, they will not give you any data back. Means you do not have any chance to analyze the nodes client. Let's say it this way. What we also see is like many different versions out there of nodes, and many different installation types. So one company, but different nodes installations out there, different installation types. Kind of uncontrolled configuration means different data folder locations, different location documents, connection documents, settings in general, which means user preferences, Eclipse preferences, and so on, right? What we also see is not secure clients, means all JVMs, non-existing code signers, non-existing ECL management. The ECL means the execution control list, right? So what you end up is you have like a mixed functionality, which results to things will simply not work, or users are having problems or trouble, and then they create tickets in with the help desk, and at the end of the day, you have a lot of work with them, and they are not happy. The same end user problem often occurs again and again and again, maybe not on the exact same user, but on other users. So I see companies often struggling with support because they have the same problems out there, and a Domino upgrade, or nodes upgrade, sorry, a nodes client upgrade is the best chance to get rid of those problems, right? Just with one step. The next thing is what we also see is we feel, or I feel, kind of a reluctance to upgrade from customers, and this is more due to that the notes teams directly, or the people who are responsible for the notes client, is not the person or the team who's responsible for software deployment. The thing is, the software deployment people have like just a little or nearly no knowledge in notes client deployments, and the notes client professionals are not responsible for the software deployment. So it's like, so two departments have to work here on one topic. And what we also see is administrators lack time, or let's say they lack time and skill to utilize all available tools to be able to manage the notes client in the best possible way. And the last thing is, my perception is it feels like it's too difficult and or too expensive, maybe too risky from a business perspective due to disruptions for those reasons. And I can tell you it's not, right? So it's easier than you think, and it's better for the users as you maybe expect. And a notes upgrade will just help you, because you get to a modern, more secure, more stable version of notes with better performance. And this should be the reasons why you upgrade the notes client, right? And it's also, if you use a very old version of notes, this version maybe is not supported any longer. And it's also good to have a supported version of notes running in your environment. So the first thing, and this is the key, is that you have to know your environment, right? It's, if you ask me, it's fundamentally important that you are able to know all the details about your notes client infrastructure to be able to make good and smart decisions. Things like which exact version is deployed, or which types of notes installations and modes are used, means what kind of the notes client is deployed. Is it standard? Is it basic? Is it admin and designer client? Is it multi or single user? Those information are very useful to be able to make the best target package for them, installation package, I mean. Then you need to know where is the location of the program folder, the data folder, the shared data folder. It's also interesting, let's say it this way, it's interesting to understand the usage in numbers or percentage, the usage of laptops versus desktops versus VDI and or Citrix, right? Because for Citrix, maybe you're aware of that. And I will talk about, by the way, about the same thing, what I'm talking here about laptops and desktops. I have a session in 2 hours about how to deploy the notes client in for Citrix environments or VDI environments in detail, right? So this is interesting to understand. And then the other one is which kind of OS is used. Maybe it is not supported any longer by HCL, or it's just interesting to understand what kind of operating system is behind or is available on the user's machines, and also the information about hardware, like how much memory do I have on the user's clients, how much free space and stuff like that. And also, if you do have any notes add-ons running. With add-ons, I mean maybe HCL connections, plugins, or CTI software, just add-ons to the notes client, right? If you can't answer those questions here 100% correctly, the following will maybe help you. And again, the following is not a commercial break. Everything I want to show you here today is absolutely free of charge. It's included in the notes and domino licensing by HCL, right? It's called, and maybe you are aware of that, it's called Mother Client Essentials. And it's, as I said, it's included in HCL Notes and Domino. So on your Domino server, if you are already on 10.0.1 or even higher, you will see a PanAgenda folder on your Domino server where you will find an installation database. And on the Notes clients with 10.0.1 or even higher, you will see there is a pmc.dll file in the program folder. For Mac clients, it's also available automatically. And that means you can just enable Mother Client Essentials to get more information out of your out of your nodes infrastructure, out of your nodes client infrastructure to have a better overview. And Marvel Client Essential will also provide you a couple of actions to be able to manage the clients better. It will run on all Domino server versions and all Domino server platforms supported by HCL. So it's really on the Domino server side, we only have two databases, the analyze database and the configuration database. And on the nodes clients, we already have the DLL file, right? And there's one good message here. If you're not already on nodes 10 or 11, it's not a big deal. We have a lot of customers which are still working with 8.5, with 9.0.1. And last week, I had a meeting. No, it was the week before. So the week before last week, I had a meeting with a customer from the US, and they are still using Node 7. And so they asked, can Marvel Client Essentials help me to understand my network better, to be able to upgrade to the new version? And yes, that's true. It's officially not supported. Of course not, because it's Node 7, but it will work. So if you want to use Marvel Client on all the Nodes client versions, yes, that's possible, easily. And if you're not on 10 or 11 on the server or even or on the client, it's not a big deal. You can just go to panagenda.com/essentials, and then you can download it for free, right? If you already are on 10.0.1 or even 11, it will be part of the platform automatically. And now I just want to show you a couple of things, what you can find out with Marvel Client Essentials to be prepared for the upgrade. And afterwards, I will show you how to create the upgrade package in detail. So this is just a link here. It's the getting started with Marvel Client Essentials link directly from HCL. So you see it's included in the platform and it's also supported by HCL, which is very important, right? On this overview, and I will not go too much in details here, you will just see the differences between the Essentials version, which is included in the platform, and the licensed basic version, which is a paid version, right? You see, it's a lot of stuff is automatically included in Essentials, and there is no need directly to license Marvel Client. You can start, if you never used Marvel Client in the past, please start with Marvel Client Essentials. Try to find out if it's already helped you. And we have a couple of customers or a couple of users in the world which are saying, you know what, it's absolutely enough for me. I don't want to have the licensed version. Marvel Client Essentials just helps me. And that's fine. Perfect. So at least in the parts of analyzing the Nodes clients and setting some configurations based on Nodes clients, Nodes INI settings, or based on user preferences. This can be done with Marvel Client in the best possible way. Way better than Domino policies. And also easier. So what I want to show you, because we talk about upgrades today, what I want to show you is a couple of views you will have in the Analyze database, right? So for instance, you see on the left-hand side, you see my navigation, and one point of the navigation is OS hardware, so operating system hardware, and you can see all your Nodes clients by operating system. So what you see here right now is that you will see the amount of users, and well, let me quickly search for my mouse. So as you will see the amount of users and what it means in percentage for your company. So what you first of all see that 64% of my users in my database are using Windows 64-bit. We have 9 users with Mac OS 64-bit, and then we have a couple of users which are using HCL Nomad, means on Android, it means the HCL Nomad app on Android or even iOS, right? And this helps you, and it also will tell you it's not only Windows. It will tell you, oh, we have Windows 10 Professional working here, but which kind of build. It will also help you to understand, are those clients in a healthy situation, or should we do something, right? Although we know operating system is maybe not our topic because we are focused on nodes. But we could also give our coworkers, our colleagues, a little hint that we think a couple of users would need a Windows update soon or something like that. Another example is Marvel Client Essentials to analyze DB by operating system resources. So if you want to deploy a Notes client, an upgrade to users, you need to understand, do the users have enough free disk capacity on their disks? And do they have enough free total memory, means the memory of the computer? I suggest not to install Notes on a computer with less than 4 GB of memory, for instance. And this you can also see, and I think I have a link in my PowerPoint slides here, where you can see the system requirements for Notes 11.0.1 FP2. But this view just gives you an overview of which of my users, and you can see that because it is sorted out by, or the sort order is by free disk capacity, and you see a couple of our users are having less than 10 GB free disk capacity. And I think 10 GB this is a golden rule, is less than 10 GB could be complicated for upgrades because you need temporary disk capacity to uncompress packages and stuff like that. I would not suggest to run upgrades with less than 10 GB free disk capacity. And you can simply identify the users here, and you can see in this case it's all mobile users, right? But also you could simply identify the users here. You see that it's a bit blurred out, but here and here you can see just the username and the host name to be able to get in contact with the user directly, or being able to get in contact with your colleagues in the IT department to let them know we need more disk capacity on the following, whatever, 20, 10, or even just 5 clients. The next example is the Notes version itself. So it's very important to understand which version is deployed out there. So what you see here is a pretty, let's say, dirty installation of Notes. It's you see a couple of versions are out there. So what we have is we have Notes 9, Notes 10, and Notes 11. This is a nightmare for the help desk. So you see there's also a lot of beta versions deployed. So a couple of users here are using the beta version of the Notes 10 and 11 client. And also what we see is one user each is using Notes 9.0 and 9.0.1 without a single fix or feature pack, which is not the best situation, let's say it this way. And on the other hand side, you also see how many percentage of the user are using multi-user versus single-user installations. And of course, if you open those categories in the database, you would end up in a big list of users, which shows you the direct list of the users which are having it installed the exact same way or the exact same version, right? So it just helps you to get a better overview over your Notes client infrastructure. And let's get to the next slide. So since we do have those informations from the analyzed database, let's speak a bit about target versions. So get away from Marvel Client Essentials. Marvel Client Essentials now helped us, but now we need to create the package. And first of all, we need to define the package. That's easy, right? We want to create a package for 11.0.1 FP2. What kind of package do we want to use here? We want to use a standard package, and we want to use a multi-user installation, right? Just for this example. Next thing would be, do we need any additional languages? There are 2 different groups available right now for languages. So we have group 1 and we have group 2. So the good message is we do have the Russian language available for Notes 11.0.1. That's perfect, right? So we can have Notes 11.0.1 FP2 deployed for Russian users. By the way, those languages will be available. This is my understanding of the situation, will be available from day 1 for Notes 12 next year. So at least the German, the Russian language will be there, which helps both sides of us, right? But also like French, Italian, Spanish. So I'm using personally the English version, but I do have a lot of users here in Germany. I know a lot of users or companies in Russia which need to have the Russian version in place. And also we are talking a lot to companies in South America, and they need Portuguese or Spanish language, of course. So those languages are available. Thumbs up. The next question for the target means by the way, for today, we want to use the Russian language, of course. So the next is where to deploy. Should we deploy to laptops, desktops, Citrix, and or VDI? And if we talk about which hardware type, what kind of operating system should we use here? Or can we deploy the latest version? So I can tell you, Windows 7 is not supported any longer. But there's a little link that means you can still create tickets. So if you want to use 11.0.1 FP2 on Windows 7, technically that's absolutely possible. And there's a link behind this link here where you can get the information that it says something like you can still open tickets for Notes 11.0.1 FP2 on Windows 7, but HCL will not fix something especially for Windows 7. So if the same problem or same issue appears also on Windows 10, that will be fixed, but not especially for Windows 7, right? Because it's not supported any longer by Microsoft itself. Okay, so some other add-ons or functions should be at the same time embedded to the Notes client? No, because it's not needed. It's automatically included in 11.0.1, and I mean the latest version. That's perfect. Should we need the JVM patch? No, it will be automatically shipped with the Notes client or with the Fixpack installer. So we don't need to have an additional JVM patch, what we used to have for Notes 9.0.1 and 8.5. Swift file, if we want to use the Swift file, the extension of Notes, which will suggest folders for mails, means if you open a mail and then it automatically can suggest folders to move the mail into based on all decisions. This is from now on included in the Notes installer, so we do not need an add-on here. The only thing what I see is we can add the HCL connection plugins for Notes. Yes, if you're using HCL connections, you can get this plugin from HCL FlexNet. And if you use something like other instant messengers with Eclipse plugins or CTI add-ons, stuff like that, yes, you should consider to put that into the package then, right? Okay, so for us, for today, let's just assume that for the session, we want to upgrade from Notes 9.0.1 FP something, IF something, whatever, to the following components. We want to use Notes 11.0.1 standard, multi-user installation on Windows 10. We want to add the Russian language, and we want to use Fixpack 2, right? We want to use all the, what you can see here, default standard path for program, shared data, and data folders. And that's what we want to do. So let's talk a bit about how can we deploy the package itself. So there are a couple of ways. There is the HCL Notes auto update. And I need to speak honest here. So I'm a big fan of Notes. I'm a big fan of Domino, and I don't want to bash anyone here. I don't want to bash HCL at all, but we need to speak honestly if it comes to technical things. And I have to say that the Notes auto update feature was, if you ask me personally, my personal opinion is it wasn't designed for real customers, because so it's quite hard. It's quite a tough job to get it running, and it will probably not run in a way that you would expect to run an upgrade. Let's say it this way. And I'm doing upgrades all day, and I never saw it successfully running in a user's environment, right? So, but anyway, it is in the platform. And if you think like Notes auto update can help you, use it. I have to say Notes auto update will not be available for older Notes clients. I think you can start using it with if you already are on 10.0.1 on the Notes clients. And of course, there are a couple of third-party solutions for Notes, like Marvel Client Upgrade, for instance. I had a session last Friday here at the Russian Notes user group, where I showed how easy it is to create upgrade packages, being able to deploy upgrades to laptops, desktop, and also to Citrix and VDI using Marvel Client Upgrade. But that was the commercial break. I will not talk about Marvel Upgrade any longer. And also there are some third-party solutions for Windows like SCCM or Imperium, LANDESK, DSM, and other stuff. You can also use those third-party tools, right? So creating the package. If you ask me, there is no need to make any changes to the MSI packages any longer. So script can help here, but use the standard downloaded packages from HCL, which is very helpful because you then have a way to differentiate between the package and the configuration, right? So the package is one thing. The configuration means a very tailor-made stub notes RNI, a config file, stuff like that should not be part of the MSI package itself. This is the old-fashioned way, and that will also help you a lot when it comes to package changes, right? So think about, you just want to change one single Notes RNI setting, and the Notes RNI is part of the MSI package. That means you have to reopen the MSI package. You have to put the entry in it, and then you have to test a lot. If you just use scripts, it's easy. You just add the Notes RNI entry, you run the script, you see it's working perfect. So it will give you also, it's easier for you for package changes, for new versions, and also for testing. I would suggest to always include an uninstalled part of an upgrade. First of all, in-place upgrades are not recommended and not suggested. In-place upgrade means you have an old version of Notes running and you just put the new version on top of it. You will end up in a very mixed scenario where you have still old files from the old installation, which can have impacts on stability and performance. You would simply see a Notes client which is not running the best way. So always include an uninstall part. This will not only help you for upgrades, but it will also help you for reinstallations, right? And if your package is also designed to be an initial installation for Notes users, the uninstall part will not do anything bad, right? It tries to uninstall something which is not existing on a new computer. It takes a second or two, and then it will install the Notes client. So all good, right? And then we have to talk about the installation order before we get deeper into the command lines. So the installation order should be uninstall first, means the uninstall of the current version. I would suggest to use the NICE tool, which is the Notes Install Cleanup Executable. You can directly download it here from HCL. It's available for free, and you can just use it. It's perfect. It helps you, but it will not remove everything. It will remove a lot of stuff for the registry and a lot of files in the file system, but not all of them. So afterwards, you also have to run a local, what we call the local cleanup, right? So you just have to take care that you remove the old program and shared data folder. That's it. Afterwards, you can install the Notes 11.0.1 client. You can add the Russian language. You can install FixPack 2, and then at the end, you copy just the customized files like the stub notes RNI and the config file to be able to start Notes also as a complete new employee, completely pre-configured without any user interaction. Right? Let's talk about command lines a bit. And again, you can have those slides. Those slides are available on slideshare.net, and they will be the Russian Notes user group team will make them available for you also on the Russian Notes user group website. So this is pretty important. You do not have to make screenshots right now if you just want to watch. First of all, those command lines I'm using for silent uninstalls and cleanups, and for installations and for the customization, right? The first block here is the uninstall part. So I'm removing a rec key. This is just suggested. Then I'm using a nice executable with a couple of switches here, means remove program folder, quiet way, and wipe the registry. Don't use RD, means remove data folder. Typically, you don't want to touch the data folder. And you don't want to remove it because then everything is removed, right? And then afterwards, we just remove a couple of possible still existing Nodes client installations, right? So that means I really try to remove everything which is possible, means HCL, IBM Lotus, stuff like that. Oh, I see a one. It's IBM Nodes and IBM Lotus. That's good. That's correct. And also in the program data. So if you run those lines, Nodes is gone, right? On the machine, nothing is available except for the data folder if a user worked previously on that machine. And then the next one is the command lines for the silent installs or the silent upgrade. First of all, it is the Windows, the Nodes 11.0.1 installation with a couple of parameters here. You can see set multi-user equals 1 or reboot equals really suppress. The thing is, you really want to suppress the reboot. You don't want to have a reboot in the middle of an upgrade or in the middle of an installation. So please use those switches. And please always write log files. Right, so the line parameter just describes the log file, the intensity of the log file of the log, and then we add the language. So we use the group 2A language pack. We just say we use the parameter add local equals Russian. This will add the Russian language. If you need other languages, fine. You can add other languages here or add maybe another language pack. We also use really reboot, really suppress, and we also write a log. And the last thing here is the fix pack2 with the exact same switches here, except for the first one, which means method install. We just want to ensure this is not an uninstall, this is an installation of the fix pack2, right? And the next thing would be afterwards. After this was done, we are copying the prepared nodes INI and the prepared config txt to the program data HCL nodes data folders, right? Let's go one step deeper. So now we have installed the nodes client, but then we need to check the logs. So you can either check the logs manually, but if you want to have a scripted setup or a complete automatic setup, you need to parse the logs. And there are just two different things. What can happen is the installation can be successful or can be not successful. And if the installation is successful, you just search for, if you want to pass the log file, you just search for error space status and then the double point space O or 0 dot, right? So error status 0 means we do not have an error, and means the installation was done successfully. If you do not, if the installation failed, you always see the exact same error status, and this is 1603, which means an error occurred. That's all. And then there's only helping one thing. You have to check the log, or even you just reinstall the whole thing, right? But if this happened, it's not good, right? So that means either Nodes is not installed, or the language pack, or the fix pack. If you ever have problems to interpretate the log, I will make you that offer right now. You can always send those log files directly to me via email. And I think my email is on the very last slides, and I can help you to find out what went wrong. I do that because I like the community and I would like to help you. And this is completely free of charge. So if you think I want to, I don't understand the log file, maybe someone could help me, just try to ask me, drop me an email, and I try to, what I can do to find out what the problem is here, right? Okay, so we have the package, we installed the software, we check the logs, all good right now. Now we need to talk about the nodes INI and the config file. But before that, if you want to run an installation on Citrix, you can just go to, and by the way, this is the session already, the slides of the session, what I will tell you later today in 2 hours or in one and a half hours. You can go directly to that. So for Citrix, we need a couple of different installations, a bit different. And if you want to switch from single to multi-user, I think there's only one way to do it in the correct way. And this is, you should check out Marvel Client Upgrade, because Marvel Client Upgrade can do that for you automatically in the background without any user interaction, right? Think about or talk about the customized stub nodes INI. So what you see here is the customized stub nodes INI. This part here is the default part. Oh, sorry. This part here is the default part, and only the create R10 database and the config file is tailor-made. But you can also add other stuff. You can add, like, for instance, the TCP/IP stack. You can add your very own used nodes INI parameters automatically to the stub nodes INI. It's just an example. And the other one here is the config txt, which is able to pre-configure a nodes client without any user interaction except for typing in the password, right? So you would not end up in a scenario where you will see the configuration wizard. It will just be configured automatically, and the user can use nodes automatically, right? So it's often used, but I also see it from time to time that customers never used it. It's just a gift from HCL. It works like a charm. It's technically 100%. It's a 100% solution. It's just good. And you can reach that target with very, very, very little effort. And the next thing is, after the upgrade, you should clean out some stuff with, you can use Marvel Client Essentials for that. Again, that's free, or even Domino policies to remove a couple of nodes INI parameters and add some new parameters. So what you see here is removing the create R85 or 9 databases from the already existing or still existing nodes INI from the user, and create the or add the create underscore R10 underscore database equals 1. There is no create underscore R11, so R10 is the latest version here of the ODS. And if you also add the NSF underscore update ODS equals 1, that would mean the ODS upgrade will be performed automatically when nodes is in use in the background. So all good. I would suggest to use the exact those nodes INI entries. And now we have to talk a bit about, before we come to an end here, if we have the package, if everything is done, so we choose the version, we have created the package, we are able to deploy the package. Now we need to understand what we have to do before. We need to test the package all the time. And I often see that tests will be performed on an old laptop, for instance. I wouldn't do that. For if you want to have like a lab situation, create a virtual machine with snapshots. That is very helpful because you can always start from the exact same point and run the upgrade again and again and again, and you will have the exact same situation, right? Which is good. And if you use those images, I would suggest to create this virtual image very close to your production configuration of your computers, of your laptops and desktops, right? So at least if you have big differences between desktops and laptop installations, means on Windows, create a dedicated virtual machine, test virtual machine for each of it, right? Same goes for VDI, of course. If you are using Microsoft's Active Directory, for instance, and using group policy objects, bring them also on those virtual machines. If a user does not have local admin rights, use a test user which has the exact amount of rights as a normal user. If you are using the user account control with Windows, enable that also for the virtual machine. If you use anti-malware, antivirus software, put that on the machine. So put everything you can on the machine to be that the machine or the virtual machine is really like a normal Windows client in your infrastructure, because most of the problems, most of the issues during an upgrade will be caused by those objects here, not by nodes itself, right? The next thing is, if you're nice, you did your test and everything worked pretty well in a test, go out for a pilot, not go directly out in production for all of your users. Start with a pilot and choose the members of your pilot group wisely, and it would be good to let them know they are part of a pilot group in general. And this is not depends a bit on the size of the company, but something between 20 and 50 users should be enough. Users from different departments and with different requirements on HCL nodes, right? Then because if something happens, you want that this happens during the pilot phase and not during the production rollout, right? So choose your group wisely, run the pilot, learn from the pilot. Maybe you have to adjust some stuff, just some final little tunings, and then you can go out in production. And before you do that, I would suggest to inform your service desk or your help desk before you push the red button, and before you send the upgrade out. And if you want to balance your deployment, you can just do that by upgrading like portions of users, just to understand it works in a good way. So we have a lot of bigger customers. They just start with 50 or 100 users for a day, and then they see how it works, and the next day you double the size or something, and then after a week you just send it out to everyone. So stuff like that is very helpful. And yeah, and that's it for my session today. So have fun with upgrades. Before I forget that, we do have a PanAgenda booth, what we call the PanAgenda Cafe. So if you have any additional questions to the next questions we will discuss in a couple of seconds, you can directly join after this session to our PanAgenda Cafe. It's open for the next 60 minutes. And you can see here, that's me, and that's my boss, Florian, and my colleague, Dominic from our sales department. We will be there. We wait for you. If you have any questions, you can drop us text messages in the chat. You can speak directly to us. Just join the Zoom session, and yeah, we are there. We are happy to talk with you. Okay, so now I'm open for questions.
Chris, hi, thank you for great session. I think it's a really hot topic because everybody now feels that it's really time to deploy newest and latest features of V10, V11, wherever version you upgrade. We have a question from the audience, but I think I answered in the chat, but how the Marvel client detects what to upgrade, because one person may have different clients, let's say work from different machines, and these machines can have different configuration. For example, I may have a standard PC C Lotus, I may have a notebook with C IBM something, and how it works together, and if I lose my configuration or my lovely workspace.
So there are two answers for you. And by the way, it's a very good question. There are two answers for that. The first one is a technical answer. So Marvel client is focused on each client, right? So means I wouldn't say on the hardware, but on each client, not on the users itself. So that means if you have multiple computers, Marvel client will perform the upgrades on each machine based on the current version and the current situation on that machine. It means you will not lose the workspace on any of the machines. You will not lose local replicas. You will not lose settings. And Marvel client will perform that. You will only have one upgrade package. And this is the generic part of the upgrade process of Marvel client upgrade is it will automatically detect the current version, the current configuration of the nodes client, and will then perform the best possible upgrade for your different clients, right? So you will not receive one client, but 3 client upgrades, one upgrade configuration on each machine. And the sales part of it, you never asked that question, but I have to say that is if you have 3 different computers, or maybe you're using as one user 5 different machines, that just means one license, because multi-client is based on user licenses, right? So you can have as many computers as you want, but you only need one license for one user.
Yeah, and I can just repeat again, I think it was mentioned on the conference that you can also get Marvel Client Upgrade as a subscription for a few months only, right?
There is, I think I let you know in the session before with Thomas and Ketan. I'm not a salesperson, but I know there is a promotion right now ongoing on PanAgenda.com, and Vlad, you know it also pretty well, I guess. So because you are the contact for our Russian customers, and so yes, there's a promotion. You can use a subscription or a project version of Marvel Client Upgrade just for one upgrade, or if you like it, you can also use it forever, of course. But the current promotion is pretty, may I say, cheap, if it doesn't have a negative attitude, right?
No, I think it's really affordable, because yes, the price, as far as I know, starts with something like €1 per month, and it goes even down if you rent it for more users. So it's really, so there is no sense to even do it manually, because 1 hour you are not working as a business user. So it really saves millions. And as far as I know, PanAgenda have a really good calculator how this return on investment. So you invest in the software, let's say we spend the money, but how easily and how fast we get it back.
Yes, it's available on PanAgenda.com, right? And this is one of the things with Marvel Client also in general. I mean, this calculator was just made for not only for Marvel Client Upgrade project, and it will just tell you, as you said, how fast you get your money back. But this also counts for Marvel Client in general, right? Because if you are able to reduce tickets up to 80% easily, if you do not have to manually work on notes clients, but you can standardize in the best possible way, you will save a lot of money.
Yeah, and I think the way you did the Marvel client, it's really, let me rephrase it. So some customers are doing, upgrade on top on upgrade. And maybe you start with, I'm not saying Grizzly 3, as some people say, but let's assume historically you started with 8, then it was 8.5, a lot of fixed specs, and you just install on top. And at some point you end with a really slow client, because we have a saying, something leaves in configuration. So it's some glitches, bugs, and you can't find it. So the only solution is to do complete reinstall. So remove and then install it from scratch. And this is what you are doing, right? You are moving to write brand new configuration, write a brand new directory. Nothing is inherited from the last configuration. You just copy databases and ID files. I think it's correct. So genius.
Right. So you will end up in a complete new installation with your old settings and local replicas, but everything is on the latest upgraded level when it turns out to database versions, template versions, and ODS. I like it. And I heard the word genius, so thank you very much. I will let the product owner and the developers know.
Yeah, thanks. I think we don't have at the moment, so it's, and again, it's not related to person document concerning the version. So Marvel client, when it runs, it just detects under which client it's run. For example, yes. So it's not related to potentially outdated information in the person record.
No, we know that because this is based on a domino policy and this is not working all the time. We know that Marvel Client is detecting all that stuff automatically by itself and not getting those informations from other sources.
Okay. I don't have yet, Chris. Again, you as always awesome. So cheers and yeah. So give me a high five.
So is it? Oh.
Like so
next time will be better, right? So, yeah, but I could feel your hand, right?
Yeah.
So let me say thank you again. Thanks to you and thanks to the whole Rust Notes user group team. I have to say it right now here, I never attended to any other online conference so far that was so good and well prepared like this one here. It's really like the case for the, I guess the other people will not know that, but the speakers are coming into the room like 15 minutes in advance, and you're always friendly. Everybody is helping you with the technical side. And what I see here in the live monitor, what I can see what the audience can see is like perfect, and also the situation with the translators. So thank you very much for that again. And sorry that I repeat myself all the time, but it's just awesome. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I can just give this one. So it's
yeah, Domino forever. True.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
And speak to you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.